Good evening, good evening. Welcome along. It is another edition of Inspire and Be Inspire. I'm going to have to keep this introduction really short because I've got this idiot on the other screen pulling faces at me and trying to put me off, but it's not going to work because I am the consummate professional. Uh, just to let you know exactly what's going on, my name is Andy Ward, and this is conversations that I have on a Tuesday evening with people who I hold in high esteem for various different reasons. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the music industry, but tonight we were broaching the subject I lovingly refer to as brum as fuck. Excuse the profanity, I always say. And I was hoping to have Jock Lee joining us, but for some reason we haven't been able to get hold of Jock all day today. So, Jock, if you do happen to see this and you get in touch in time, then we can still bring you on. That's not a problem. Or if anyone can get hold of Jock, let us know. I got Mark Wilkinson here. Good evening, Mark, and good evening to everyone else joining us live. Do leave a comment, let us know that you're watching. Without further ado, because he's absolutely sending me crazy, let me switch this button over and say hi to the legend that is Mr. Phil Gifford. How are you, man? You all right? Come
Happy
and
to
talk
be
to
here.
me.
Happy to be here. What do you need to know?
Well,
I would tell you everything.
tell me everything. So you're definitely a gentleman that really needs no introduction. And if anybody isn't aware who you are, it will become apparent as we continue to go on.
How ready dare they?
Right. I was just mentioning Neil Rushton is here. Big love. Also, as I say, Mark
Neil,
Wilkinson, a gentleman that you've booked many
Mark,
times down the years. And anybody else, as I say, guys, we're going to be deep in conversation. I'll do my very best to acknowledge that you're watching. So bear with me.
can I just talk about Neil for a minute?
Please do.
So Neil, okay, we had a label back in the 90s and everyone had an expensive hobby and made no money and lost some money and made some rubbish records and blah, blah, blah. Neil so kind of took us on for a distribution deal with Network. There's a few other little stories about not being able to get in on the photo shoot with DJ Mag, but that's another thing. But what I didn't know at the time was Neil Rushton, right? Because like people like you and I and probably Mark and obviously Neil and people, they're like the history and the backstory, and it goes from like funk to all days to like northern soul to house to jazz funk and all that kind of stuff. All the people kind of about our age, you're probably about 2 years younger than me, about our age. Neil Rushton was the man who was promoting those Northern Soul nights in Blackpool. And I didn't know that until about 2 years ago. I started looking through this stuff, and it's like I'd met Neil a million times. He's come partying with us and distributed our records and, blah, blah, blah. But he's pretty much like, you imagine like the Paradise Garage in New York. Neil Rushton must be the British version of the Paradise Garage, to be fair.
Neil
You know
Rushton,
what I mean?
Neil Rushton is a nightclub. Well, we had a conversation.
No, you know what I mean? It's like, if it wasn't for Neil getting all them massive discos going back on in Blackpool and whatever, and getting all those records out and bringing all those people over and blah, 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 we wouldn't have what we have today, I don't think.
No, I agree.
If that's okay to say, Neil?
I totally agree with you. And Neil very eloquently told his story a couple of weeks ago with Colin Curtis. And it was very, very interesting.
Obviously, the other legend.
As well. And also another legend that got mentioned while we're talking about it was Graham Waugh, who was another absolute legend, right?
No, and I feel bad about this. I feel bad about this. So Graham, to me, was just, if you're listening, Graham, apologies. And if you're still around, right? So Graham and Julie, legends of the club scene. Me, 18, 19, 20, some older people within the club scene I respected and wanted to kind of know because I kind of like was just into the scene and all the rest of it. And I remember meeting Graham in Piccadilly Arcade outside Jim shop, outside the depot, and having a little chat and all the rest of it. He was going, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm DJing here, I'm DJing there. And me being like a arrogant, naive and a bit egotistical kind of 19, 20-year-old was like, Oh, for fuck's sake, Graham, you're not a fucking DJ. Fuck off. Thinking I was a DJ. Didn't really speak much after that, to be fair. And then I thought, and it's about the same time that I found out about Neil being like the main man of the whole of that Northern Soul scene. It's like 1972, Burntwood, their Northern Soul clubs in Burntwood that they were doing, like Sevens or something like that. People might know were a little bit older than you and I, like Graham Wall.
And a hell of a lot more, and a hell of a lot more. But listen, they had their story, and it's nice that you felt the need to give Neil props. We already did that 2 weeks ago. Let's get back to yourself now, okay? So I am aware of Phil Gifford from the club scene. Before you were a DJ, I believe, before you were a promoter. What I'm going to try and do, and I'll put some notes down here. Mark, you'll be proud of me, Mark Wilkinson. I have said what this interview is not. It is not the definitive timeline of Birmingham clubs or your life history, because we can't capture that in the short time that we're going to have. But what it is, it's going to be a recap of how you started on your journey and any funny anecdotes along the way. Okay, so tell me where you believe an important part of the story begins. Let's say around 16, 17 years of age. Phil Gifford, where were you? Because I'm not even familiar what part of Birmingham you're from.
Not from Birmingham, I'm from Tamworth.
Okay. Sorry, is that an insult? Is that a terrible insult?
Yeah, no, I know.
Staffordshire massive.
I'm a Brummie through and through, right? So like Tamworth to me is like, so, you know, apologies because I've got loads of Tamworth mates who still live in Tamworth who I didn't know back then, but only through the club scene, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. All the people I knew from Tamworth when I was growing up, I don't know them, but there's loads of really great people in Tamworth. But anyway, moving on, including my new DJ partner, Andrew Milford. If you're watching, Andrew, keep going.
Yeah, 16, 17 on the hard streets of Tamworth.
No, on the hard streets of Birmingham, because basically what happened was I decided I wanted to, okay, if you've got time, I can tell you the whole story. Right?
Let me just say, we're under no time constraints. Even if it ends up just being me and you talking for 3 hours, then so be it. Please feel comfortable to tell the stories at your own pace in as much depth as you need.
Okay, so I was a crap student at school, and my parents were like, well, your older brother was the clever one. He never got any A levels and stuff. You just need to leave school and get yourself a fucking job so you can like pay weight, blah, 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 blah. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. But there was no way my parents were going to subsidise me going to college to be a fashion designer. And plus, I probably wouldn't have been very good at it. I just like to wear it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, you know, whatever. So at the time, 1985, what were you? 12. In 1985.
No, I think you've only got a few months on me. I was born in 70.
Wow, I was 69, so you know, fair play. You're looking good. Anyway, so there was a thing called a YTS Youth Training Scheme, which is like an apprenticeship, but it's not an apprenticeship. So, because I couldn't get into fashion, to design fashion, I needed to earn some money to be able to live. Because my parents were like, well, we're not supporting you, got to give us like this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know, like back in the day, in the 80s, that's what you did. You gave your parents some, I don't know whether you did or not, but, you know. So I went and got myself a Saturday job at a hairdresser's in Tamworth, but then went and got myself a YTS training scheme in Birmingham to learn how to cut hair, because it was the nearest thing to fashion I could get that being fashion designer. That makes sense.
Yeah,
you know
totally.
I mean, it's kind of connected. Yeah, I want to be it. And then obviously being in Birmingham, you sort of, you know, being someone who like is into music, art, fashion, architecture, might be, you start noticing little core things, like little groups of people walking around in different sorts of clothes, or you know punks, you know skinheads, you know mods, you know all that kind of stuff. But then there's like these other little kind of like little things. There's like these little psychedelic areas. There's the little Northern Soul areas, and then there's these other people that were like, I suppose you could say they were a bit like, they look like Ben from Curiosity Killed the Cat. You know, that's probably a bit of a naff thing to say, but they look like that. And it's just like, I kind of want to be part of that, because my hairdressing days were quite the people I were working with were quite kind of Sharon and Tracy. Nobody disrespects Sharon and Tracy, but they're kind of Sharon, Tracy kind of things. Went to Pagoda Park, went to Millionaires, that kind of thing. But I was looking for something different because when I was growing up, I thought I was really cool because I was like a break dancer and I was a mod and I was a Ted, and it was like trying to be alternative, all a bit naff, but you know, that's what you did. And the time switched, and I doubt he's listening, but Nathan, Gregory Wilkins, Nathan, who we all know from Birmingham, Nathan and Ming from Snobs, and Nathan from whatever, blah, blah, blah. I've noticed this guy walking around town, rucksack, shirts, just literally on the ramp, because where I was working at the hairdresser was on Palisades in Birmingham, if everyone remembers Palisades. Ben Tom's on the corner, then was McDonald's, and there. So I'm walking around, and I just literally walked to him and went, mate, do us a favour, where'd you go? Because I was from Tamworth.
Really?
I was still living at my mum and dad's. Yeah, and I just literally walked up to this bloke because I thought, he looks like one of those people. I went, where'd you go? And he was like,
I love that.
oh, we do this and we go here, we go there. Like within about 3 seconds, I've got like 3 places that I need to visit. And it was like West End Bar downstairs, Friday and Saturday. Don't go upstairs, that's all the rockabillys. Downstairs, all the good music. Portland Club, Dial B, which turned into Rococo, DJ Dixon. Yeah. And then either Zigzag or Pen and Wig, which were
those last two don't sound familiar to me.
Okay, so Pen and Wig is an old pub that was on the corner of Dale End underneath the car park where they used to. No, you wouldn't like. It was like the end of. What can I say?
Right next to the courts.
Yeah, underneath the courts.
I know exactly. Okay, I know exactly what you mean.
And they used to play like proper jazz. So you go, oh yeah, this is really cool, man. Let's go and listen to jazz, man. There's a DJ called Warren. He used to wear head to toe Vivian Westwood seditionaries, playing jazz. And everyone would go, yeah, this is really, really cool. And we were all wearing Baker Boy hats and had rucksacks on and fucking 501s and rips and braces and like, yeah, really cool. Boring as fuck. But on Friday, Zigzag, which was the club next to Powerhouse, if you went around the corner, now it's got a sign over the door saying disco. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you probably remember it's 30, 40 years ago. Well, that was Zigzag. And that was Xanadu. And on a Friday, they had a night called Zigzag, which he won't be listening, but was something to do with a bloke called Mark. I can't quite remember his name, but he's on my Facebook. Anyway. And you could go in there and you could listen to like the Beastie Boys, Donald Byrd, Jackson Sisters, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And it was the same at the West End Bar, which downstairs at the West End Bar, 3 or 4 DJs, Steve Griffiths might have been one of them, and a few other people. But it was like, it was what we used to call rare groove. So you go and you listen to like I say, Jackson Sisters, Heavy Day and the Boys, like, but really early house. And one of my fucking favourite house records of all time, Rage featuring Wonder, right? It was the only place you heard that was downstairs at the West End Bar. So you'd hear, falling like dominoes and like fucking Jackson Sisters. I believe in miracles, baby. I believe you. And then you'd hear this. It's okay. It's okay. Then Nitro Deluxe, and then you'd hear New York, Jap groove, Jap groove, fucking like proper. And we were like just kids, and nobody danced. We were just like all standing up, like posing, like like the New Romantics used to do it. Fucking Rum Runner. Be like, we don't dance, we're too cool. But when something like Rage featuring one come on, or the whole place would be like this, dum 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 dum, fucking like proper. Excuse my language.
No, it's all right.
That was my.
It's lovely to see it's lovely to see the enthusiasm and the passion.
No, honestly, I'm not even joking. It's like I go back further, right? So I was into. We were break dancers, so we knew Man Parish and whatever and blah blah blah, and I know all the rest of it. But we really we didn't really understand the groove or what was going on. So we knew electronic music from being 15 because a couple of our mates, older brothers, had been to New York and brought back these Kiss FM tapes. I'm talking 1984 Kiss FM tapes, and like, oh man, all these records, they just like blend into each other without like any stops or anything. That's like crazy. you know, and it was, you know, looking for the perfect beat, hip hop, bebop, all that kind of stuff. Like proper, like amazing. So we're into electronic music, but we thought it was just like a bit repetitive and a bit boring because we were like kids and we liked the Who and we liked the, I don't know, Small Faces and just rock and roll kind of thing. You know what I mean? Even though we were breakdancers. So, you know, go forward 2 years and you hear something like it's okay, but you're like trying to be cool and not dancing. Or you go to Zigzag on a Friday and they'll play.
And you were all out drinking at this stage, right? In the pubs, you were all drinking.
Yeah, there was no drugs. It was like a couple of people would have speed, and we'd all had mushrooms at school, and you know, you could get a tab if you wanted to have acid, but it wasn't. Drugs weren't a thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, but you were all drinking in the pubs because you're talking in your 15, 16 years of age, right?
Oh yeah, no, everyone's drinking in pubs, but like not getting drunk because you couldn't afford to get drunk because you were on 23 quid a week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you were like 16, 17 then, not 15.
16, 17. I used to go to the West End bar and buy soda water and lime. Me and my mate Robin had bed sitting mostly. We'd get the 50 into town. I still lived in town, so I'd drive my car to Robin's bed sit. We'd get the 50 into town to go to the West End bar. Obviously, he'd put his pass on. I'd like sneak on. And I'd buy soda water and lime because it was 7 pence at the West End bar. You just had to pay for the soda, for the lime, 7 pence. Because I was on 23 quid a week.
Brilliant.
It wasn't about getting smashed and whatever. It was about looking good, listening to music.
I'll stop you very, very briefly. I just want to say again, because we're getting a hell of a lot of people passing through who are going to be loving this conversation. Thank you for being here, guys. Please do leave comments. Please do leave any messages for Phil, because he won't actually be able to see them now, but he will come back and comment afterwards, I'm sure. So please, any memories that these conversations evoke, please feel free to mention in the comments, and Phil will see them eventually and get back to you. So carry on, dude.
So, having worked at like a kind of a posh nan hairdressers in the Palisades, over the road in a Piccadilly Arcade, Midland Hotel, people used to go for drinks after work there on Fridays and like a place to go. There was this new hairdressers that had something to do with the old Hair by Michael at the top of the ramp. Top of the escalators from the New Street station. They'd all moved to this new place called Rizzo. And all the people in there were like cool as fuck. Funny fringes, like funny hair, all wearing black and like, no, proper like if you're into fashion, you thought you were cool. It was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. So we all wanted to go and work there. So I did go and work there. And I still wasn't really clued up on what was going on with a scene or anything like that. But the best hairdresser that was there was Tracy West. Tracy won't be listening to this. She's like, you know, probably hasn't even got Facebook. But Tracy West was like, imagine like Vidal Sassoon in LA and in London in the early 70s. Tracy was like that in Birmingham in the late 80s. So like massive respect to Tracy. Like taught me everything that I knew. And some other people who were like just like fashionistas. And I just wanted part of it. So I went to work there. I'm trying to make friends with Tracy because I just want to hang around because she's so fucking cool and she's such a good hairdresser. She's like, oh yeah, you're going to Somerville on Saturday? I'm like, oh yeah, of course I am. Where is it? So Somerville wasn't a night. Somerville was a band, but I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm coming to Somerville. Yeah. Where is it? And it was upstairs at the Powerhouse. You remember? There was what was the night upstairs at the Powerhouse? Remember it?
No, can't think.
Come on, know. Can anyone type in what was upstairs at the Powerhouse after 49ers?
At the Powerhouse upstairs?
Yeah, upstairs. Like Powerhouse main entrance is there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. On the right, there's an upstairs room. Salvation. Remember Salvation?
I remember the name Salvation. I'm pretty sure I used to go with my friends Gary and Lee, but I can't picture it at all.
Okay, so basically, after West End Bar, where I discovered house music and rare groove and all that, it moved on. It's probably only 3 month or 6 month thing because that's why fashion moved on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We started going to 49ers. 49ers was managed by, who won't be listening, but he might be, Stuart Udale. right? And it was,
That's where I first met Nathan at 49ers.
yeah, no, exactly. And it was Bad Boy Bill, and it was Nathan, Dick occasionally, and I'm not sure whether Ming did it or not, but it was like definitely Bill, Dick, and so we kind of moved on because, you know, fashion was a fast thing there, and then we discovered after that we discovered going from 49ers and West End Bar to Dial B, which was Dick's thing. But it's all about this whole story, which has gone round and round and round and round. It's all about DJ Dick. Tracy is Dick's girlfriend. We'd been going to like all these places where Dick was DJing, and then I've kind of become a hairdresser in a like a cooler, trendier place. And Tracy was Dick's fucking girlfriend. It was like, oh my god, you're Dick's girlfriend. Oh my god, that's amazing. Fucking hell, yeah. You know, and Somerville, which was on at Salvation upstairs at the Powerhouse, were Simon, blonde dreadlocks, who used to be the bass player for Duran Duran but left because of getting too commercial, and about 4 other blokes who later on, 2 years later, made some like Balearic classics, which I can go into in about 10 minutes. But like, you know, it was just like I was made. I was like, oh my god. Well, I wouldn't be a DJ now if I am or if I'm not, and whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've all been through fucking a hell of a lot. But no disrespect, Nathan. What happened was, no,
I love the way you frame it.
Listen to this, right? So we'd all been going to Dial B at the Portland Club. All the cool kids, and people used to come on buses from Nottingham and stuff, like 250 cool kids, fucking all in black, fucking jazz dancers, your mates at fucking a vocal booth at the ministry, all that kind of, all, you know, neckerchiefs and you know, all the cool kids, yeah. They're all the jazz dancers and all the rest. Because I spoke to people at the Ministry Bar who used to go to the Portland Club to Dixon. Oh man, I remember you from Ministry, like from Portland Club like 20 years ago. Like, yeah, I remember you, blah, 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 blah. Well, I haven't seen him for like 10 years, but that's another story. So, but we were like in this like connection of like Tracy introduced to that. We've been there and we've been this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just Nathan, the coolest fashionista. Sorry, Nathan, if you're watching, I doubt you are. Nathan, the coolest fashionista, got himself a set for the last half an hour at the Portland Club, right? And he was really, really, really into print. Bearing in mind, this is like the best half an hour you could have, not Portland Club, but fucking hell, what's it called? Grab a Granny, what's it called? Edgbaston Reservoir, what's it called?
Yeah, the Reservoir.
Yeah, no, what's a club called by the Reservoir?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Come on, you do. You do.
The club at the Reservoir?
Yeah. Tower Ballroom.
Right, okay. Sorry, I couldn't really get to where you were taking me. Grab a Granny.
So it was Grab a Granny on Friday, wasn't it? We all went to Grab a Granny. Probably not. So like I say, so Dial B Dick's night moved right from the Portland Club to the Edgbaston Reservoir.
Okay. Well, you know what? You joking aside, and you're giggling. This is fantastic for me because I have such a broken memory of those days. I would have been going to a lot of these things that you're talking about, but because being a DJ was the last thing on my mind, I was going out, but I didn't consider myself to be with the cool crowd like you. I was just going out because that was the natural progression. A guy that I used to live, we moved house, and a guy who I lived by, his girlfriend's sister was going out with a guy called Leroy Hussey, and Leroy used to be buying a hell of a lot of vinyl and do tapes for my friend Gary. So I was hearing all the records that you were talking about earlier, and I was there, I got blown away by it myself. So all of this is running concurrent. I mean, I'm in the exact same timeline as you, but when you mention Salvation, it definitely rings a bell, but you know, so vague memories of those times. But I do remember that one of the strongest memories was Tower Ballroom, the Reservoir, Rococo, because there was the short, and I'll let you come back to it, but there was that like a crossover period. One week it was like the Folio 50 crew, and then the next week it was just like everyone's popping pills and snorting poppers, you know. So back to you, sorry.
So no, this is true, because this is the thing, because I'm 52 now. I'm like 52 and a half. I come from like I mean, all the people that didn't go out till 1991, not a problem, but like you would laugh, or just like go, oh, it's not fucking about that, mate. But to me, it was about fashion, looking good, looking different to everyone else, and not being a massive part of the whole fucking big thing. Because I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to go to Pagoda Park. I didn't want to go to, I don't know, whatever, Faces or
Pagoda Park, Edwards, Faces, Number Sevens, all of those things.
Didn't want to do that sort of thing. I thought I was different. It's a bit embarrassing now, but I'm not doing that. I'm fucking cooler than that. I'm fucking going somewhere completely different. But it's only because there's only 6 months or a year different with us that you weren't doing that, because that's all the time scale it was at the time.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know what I mean? It was like, it's like in London, M Punk in 1976. There's 100 people at the 100 Club watching the Sex Pistols. 6 months later, no one was a punk. For 20 years afterwards, everyone up north was a punk. They had a fucking Sid Vicious fucking jacket on, spike hair and whatever. But it's like, it was the same kind of thing in Birmingham at the time. There was so much really cool stuff going on that changed every 3, 4, 6 months that, if you weren't part of it, you weren't. And it's like that whole punk London thing, which is what really winds me up when, you hear all them fancy stories which Jock would have talked about, like, oh yeah, we invented Balearic and we're this and we're that. And it's just like, well, them powerhouse all dayers, even though that wasn't my thing, I never ever went to one. But I went to the West End Bar, I went to Zigzags, I went to Dial B, and I went to Rococo, and those were like cool as fuck. And you're right, Rococo was a crossover. So Dick, who was the mainstay of the whole thing, without Dick, Birmingham would never have happened. And I take my hat off to Dick. Birmingham would never have happened without Dick, right? Ever. I know it's probably off your radar because you're 6 months younger than me.
No,
right?
totally. I used to go to many of Dick's parties and getting to know Dick down the years after. It's probably a few years after, but like the cake parties that I know Dick was heavily involved with.
Yeah, man. I mean, that him and Nigel. Nigel's another character.
Somebody else mentioned Snobs earlier as well.
So, it was a fashion thing, and then what happened was rave happened. What happened when rave happened was, for me, not for everyone else, for me, I was abroad. Me and my ex-girlfriend, Tracy Lewis, who won't be watching, Woodward now.
Stop saying who won't be watching, because they will get to see eventually.
Yeah. Hello, Tracy.
Hello, Trace. All right, Trace.
All right, Trace. Right, how you doing? You're right. She's sorted. So Tracy, God bless her, right? Me and her were abroad interrating for 4 months. And I'd left Birmingham as a fashion place, but I'm buying the face and ID and stuff because it was obviously pre-internet and pre-phone, blah, 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 blah. It's fucking 1989, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Just before I went, it was like acid had just happened, but acid, like Hacienda acid, not raves.
Yeah.
Not raves, acid, club acid, like Hacienda acid, and even
well, it was Chicago. It was Chicago House, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was Chicago House.
And it was music. And I left that, and we went abroad for 4 months, just traveling, interrailing, camping, whatever. But while I was away, because we'd saved up for it, I was like buying like nice clothes and some like platform shoes and blah 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 blah. And we were in Amsterdam, and I bought a copy of The Face because that's how you learn about shit.
Mm-hmm.
Many years later, featured in it twice. But anyway, I'll tell you that later. I was in The Face, Mom. Yes, you talk about drugs. Anyway, and it says in The Face, blah 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 blah. You can't get in without an invite. At the Tower Ballroom, Rococo is the Birmingham rave to go to. I'm like, the fuck? Tracy's like this on the bed. What are you on about, Phil? I'm like, we're going home. We're going home. Like, fucking, I'm not going home. Like this. Tracy stays in Amsterdam. I get a ferry back from fucking Amsterdam to Ramsgate. My nan used to live just up the road in Ramsgate. Stayed at my nan's for a few days. Went back to Birmingham and went to the rococo they were talking about in the face 3 days later. Being in Amsterdam because I didn't want to miss anything.
I can remember they had the white sheets because it was a huge room, and they had the white sheets that covered down onto the dance floor to kind of make it a little bit smaller.
I think that was when it was at the Hummingbird when he did that one.
No. I can definitely differentiate between Rococo and the Hummingbird, 100%. Because we used to.
They did the Rococo at the Hummingbird.
No, but I mean when it was at the
when it was cool. When it was cool.
When it was cool at the Reservoir Tower Ballroom, because you mentioned about Nathan.
Not cool at all, is it?
No, far from it. You mentioned about Nathan.
As well.
He used to DJ when he was DJing at 49ers. We used to go with all my mates from Sutton, and you good friends with one of my good friends' sister who was slightly older. And I remember, this is very vague, I know, because I can't remember it that well. I'm sure he broke his leg, and he was DJing on a crutches.
No, he didn't. He had an illness and he had crutches.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I just assumed he'd broke his leg. I thought he had his foot in a cast or something, or he had a stick. But that was my earliest memories of him. So this is all the same. This is all the same timeline. So okay, so I'm gonna rein this in a little bit. We've got no time constraints, but
are we still in 1989?
I was going to say we will get really stuck romantically. We need to move on to
1989. I'll get to 90 soon.
We need to move on to the point where
We had all the time in the world.
Okay, I'll shut up. Carry on. Tell me what you think's important.
Okay, Birmingham people.
Now before you carry on, let me say I'm so sorry. I got Susan here. Hi, Susan, a good friend of mine who I went to school with. Lovely to have you here. And also so many names that are popping up who are really loving these tales. So I have to say again, thank you for being here, guys. I don't want to stop Phil and give you all name checks, but it's brilliant to see you. So carry on, Phil.
What do you want to say, Andrew?
I want you to carry on.
Okay, so Andrew Ward. Okay. I wrote for the Bad Mag a few years ago, and I couldn't even get to the 90s because the 89 and 90 was so important in the progression for the 90s that I could not write about it, and I was supposed to be writing about the 90s. You know what I mean? And then my first DJ gig, some of you might have been there, was Monday night at Notes, right? Nigel Blunt gave me my first gig at Notes. So I've grown up in Tamworth, right, and I had a couple of older friends and my brothers, like I said, I got those tapes from New York with Man Parrish and stuff like that. And they were really into fashion, not fashion as in like clothes, but the group. Yeah, okay. You know fashion?
Yeah.
Mulligan and those sort of people. And I'm going like 1983, 1984. No, just being like their little brother going, oh, what's this, blah, blah, blah. So Monday night at Notes, I've got my fashion 12-inch out, put it on. Nigel comes over, who gave us the gig. I'd met Nigel through Dick, because Dick was a resident DJ at Notes on a Friday and a Saturday before Snobs, yeah? Is it making sense?
Totally.
Nigel comes home and goes, nice, fashion, used to manage them. So, like, I've been booked by some bloke I don't really know, because I know Dick, and he was like, well, if you want a gig, just ask Nigel, he'll put you on Monday, for fuck's sake, trying to, like, just fuck off, Phil, stop being the best.
The tallest man in the world.
Yeah, Nigel Blunt. So blunt, because his fucking head hits the ceiling. Do you know what I mean? So, Dick said, just go and talk to Nigel. So Nigel's put on, and I've put this, and he's like, oh, you used to manage them. I'm like, you used to manage fashion? Yeah. And then I find out Nigel's got something to do with the Rum Runner. And then I knew Dick had stuff to do with the Rum Runner, but like, Dick was like the main man at the Rum Runner. There was also a photographer in Birmingham, who people might remember, Mike Horseman, who like chronicled loads and loads of Brummy stuff. Dick's first ever DJ gigs before mixing was even invented or whatever, was at the Rum Runner on a Friday or a Saturday, and it was called Two Bad Brothers, and it was Mike Horseman, the old photographer, and DJ Dixon. They were called Two Bad Brothers, and this is about 1983, 1984, before, you know, it all went crazy. And I kind of knew this stuff. My mind was blown. I was in a bar. There was no fucker there. I was in a bar being paid 30 quid on a Monday night playing records that I've mixed really badly, Fashion, and the fucking manager of Fashion was fucking there going, oh yeah, I used to manage these. Mulligan's doing this now. Mulligan's doing that now. Mulligan's the lead singer with the dreadlocks and all like that. And I'm like, oh, really? Whatever. And that's when I thought, do you know what? I've made it, mate. Fucking Monday nights at Notes, nobody there. I've made it, mate.
Bravo. 18-year-old Mr. Gifford. Notes was a brilliant venue. I used to love Notes. Skip forward a few years.
Terrible carpet.
Skip forward a few years. Myself and Smoothie would be spinning on a Saturday afternoon to everyone snorting poppers. But we'll come back to you.
Fair play. I laid the path for you both.
You did indeed, and on many, many different occasions, which we will get to. Okay, so 89, 90. So for me, let me put my slant on 89 to 90.
Yeah, go on. I'm bored of myself talking, to be fair.
The only reason that I can recollect 89 and 90 is the fact of the rave at Aston Villa Leisure Centre when New Year's Eve happened. On the stroke of midnight, and unless I'm mistaken, they played Gino Latino Welcome, and it was like, wow, we're seeing in a new decade, and we're all off our tits, allegedly. That's the only reason why I can remember that period. That wow, am I right there or am I wrong?
Okay, so I had me personally, I don't know about everyone else listening in, but like you were saying earlier, that crossover between like all the cool fashionistas and rave, I had a good 6 months of fucking rave. Like, we used to, okay. Honestly, I was like in the rave. Like, I was in the rave, arm deep, like properly, like in the fucking rave.
Well, I've seen you on the rag market. I've seen you on the rag market video, which is a few months later.
I'd got out of the rave by then, but got in the rave just for one night. Deeply into the rave.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Carry on, I'm sorry. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So me and Tony Clark, don't know where he is, Tony Clark, right? Did
you see him on the telly?
No, but you know what? That's another story. I've got like another hours of stories about me and Tony Clark, because he was the person with fucking 2 Technics and a mixer. He lived in a flat in Ladywood, right? And he had 2 Technics and a mixer. I came back from traveling. Me and Tracy split up, funnily enough. Me and Tracy split up because I was fucking getting off with fucking young birds, even though I was only, anyway. You know what I mean? And and for some, I don't know, somehow, Robin, the guy we used to go out to the West End bar, was like hanging around with Tony because he worked at Tony's hairdressers, fucking whatever it was called, top of the ramp, blah, 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 blah. And Tony had 2 Technics 1210s. But this was before you, me, anyone didn't even know what a Technics 1210 was. Mm-hmm. Like, And obviously he's got like the Binatone Besta. No, what was it? What was that one from Tandy?
I can't even think.
No, fucking what's it? Stylistic. Is it Stylistic, that mixer from Tandy?
No, the Stylistics was that little
you
thing
were 6 months old with the pen.
No, I'm thinking the stylophone. I can't even think, mate. I can't think. You put me on the spot here.
And then he was like my mate Robin. You know, he was his mate. So me and Tony became mates, and fucking hell.
Realistic. Andy Tomo says realistic.
Yeah, realistic. Yeah.
Nice one,
One
Tomo.
with a crossfade, one without. 4-channel or no crossfade. Thanks you, Andy. So anyway, he's got like 2 Technics in his flat in Ladywood, and this realistic mixer, and we were like, what is all this? So immediately I've gone down to Richard Sounds, Gone, oh, I'll have a couple of them, and I'll have one of them and one of them, and gone to Tandy in Tamworth, because that's where my parents were, because it was £10 cheaper than Birmingham. I just done Dale End. Do you remember when Tandy was in Dale End on the corner?
Yeah, yeah.
No, you don't.
Of course I do. I do. Massive, huge windows.
Okay. I'm trying to connect all these stories.
It's all right. Carry on. Everyone's loving it.
I'm trying to connect all these. So I've got these two techniques from Richard Sounds on tick. HP, 20%, blah blah blah, 2 years payment, blah blah blah, and I've put them on the boxes that they came in. So the boxes are like slightly tilted. This is my excuse for being the shit DJ, by the way. So the boxes are slightly tilted. I've got my realistic mixer in the middle, and I made sure I bought the one with the crossfade, because apparently crossfades make you mix better. Apparently, yeah, you can do this. Robbie wants says, you know that.
Yeah.
That kind of shit that you used to do in 1990, 89, whatever it was. That thing. Anyway.
So excitable. You're so excitable. Relax.
But this is really, I'm really happy to be telling the story.
And we are
I wish I could put it into words. I wish I could put it all into words, because it was exciting times.
Well, it's great. I think you're conveying it perfectly.
We were kids and we became fucking, don't at me, but we became fucking kings. Kids became kings. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, Shocks here, Amnesia, king. Do you know what I mean? Man Parrish, fucking king. DJ Dick, old bloke, king. Andy Ward, not heard of him yet. 2 years later, king. Do you know what I mean? Jock, fucking putting massive nights on, fucking Hummingbird, fucking 2,000 people.
I am actually gutted that we haven't got Jock, but we will get to talk to Jock another time, because his story is integral in all of this, isn't it?
It's like we were kids from Castle. You're from Castlevale, I'm from Tamworth, right? We're kids from estates who had no fucking future at all. And what did we do?
Smashed it.
Yeah, fucking smashed it. Well, but not in an arrogant, fucking stupid way, but like, you know, we wanted what we wanted, and we got it, and we had a great time. We're still doing it. So you can't knock it, can you?
Not at all. So let's get some structure to the conversation. Let's get to the part where you've started playing. Eventually, you had your first gig at Notes. Did that continue, or was that a one-off?
No. So we had our first few gigs at Notes. Me and Tony Clark, God bless him. But lucky enough for us, me and Tony, 3 weeks later, Dick left Saturdays, because Nigel and Dick left Notes and went over and started Snobs. So Tony and me were doing Saturdays, and Martin, Red and Bod were doing Fridays.
Yeah.
Martin, if you're watching.
Martin fell out with me because he said I stole his residency off him.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone knows Martin? Bod, be good to see you again, Sean, at some point. Yeah, but fucking hell, mine. Jeez. Oh,
I'm not saying a word. Carry on.
No, good. Don't say a word. Let me do it.
Carry on. You were talking about the Saturday you took over. Was it Breathless over at Snobs?
So no. So we took over Saturday nights at Snobs, me and Tony.
At Notes.
Notes. Yeah, at Notes. Saturday night bar pre-fucking Snobs. Because Snobs became the club. Snobs became like the club's go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we were like the pre-club. And all I was doing was like, there's a couple of people you might know, and I'm not going to mention any names, but one of them sounds something like Ziggy, and one of them sounds something like Tree Nut.
Just say them.
So no, we're not going to say their names. Who were like handing out, double doves and stuff. And all I used to do was like
Triggy and Tree Nut.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, lads. We know who you are.
So I'll be like, if you know what was from this, right? And I'd be just like fucking. All I'd do all night was like put a record on, not mixed, ba 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 ba, and then just go and fucking dish out all these fucking. You know what I mean?
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, yeah.
Just cover our backs.
I don't know what was going on. Why I didn't ever retire to the Bahamas, but like, you know, it was a thing. So, and yeah, we did it. So, but what happened then was going up 6 months or 3 months, 2 months, a month, 6 weeks. I don't know what it was, but like, you know, Snobs was on. We were doing. We were DJing at Coast to Coast, downstairs Hudson Bay on a Friday. Steve Griffiths, me and Tony on a Friday at Hudson Bay. Saturday nights at Snobs.
Notes.
And in between that, notes, sorry, yeah. And in between that sort of time, you know, we did like, we did loads of stuff. We did like we broke into a warehouse in Ladywood on Christmas Eve. My mate, Aid Taylor, if you're watching, paid him with some bent £20 notes and got arrested and spent some time inside for that.
Let me ask you a question very quickly, talking about warehouses. Now, you know the Pump Island on the way from Aston into town?
Yeah.
I remember going to a party one time, it would have been around this time, maybe earlier, and the whole warehouse or factory had only just been cleaned earlier on, and it had been whitewashed. So everybody went and your clothes were like covered in whitewash. Do you remember that party?
Yeah, was it not an offices, not a factory?
I really don't remember. I just remember being in this, but that wasn't yours, no?
No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't.
But you remember that what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was like a brightly lit, white painted, like second or third floor offices.
Okay.
Kind of in between Hockley and Aston somewhere.
Yeah.
I fuck knows where, mate.
Near to where the Aston University would be now, kind of around that area.
There.
Yeah. Okay.
It lasted like 2 weeks and then.
Mm-hmm. So carry on then.
That might have been something to do with Danny.
Really? Oh, I'll have to. Danny will come onto this at some point, so I'll ask him.
Probably join in, and because you know,
Danny's going to be lined up to have a conversation of this caliber at some point. Okay, so. All of these things, as I said, luckily it's not trying to be the definitive timeline of Birmingham club scene because we've covered about 3 months.
We've only got to 89. I think I mentioned 90 about a minute ago. So
yeah. Push your screen back again because I can't see your face now. There you go. That's better. Lovely face. Neil McLean, Pugwash is saying hip hop, bebop, Man Parish. No, Man Paris, an MC from Coventry. Amnesia Rave, Man Paris. That's what we were all thoroughly immersed in, travelling around to all the clubs.
Can I tell you the story about Little Louis at Trusteens on a Thursday?
Little Louis or Louis Vega?
Louis Vega. So what happened was Little Louis, French Kiss was in the charts, and it was like.
Little Louis. Little Louis.
All right, Soz. What else?
No, I just need to differentiate exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. I don't know who you're fucking talking about, but the French
Kiss
bloke,
man.
Yeah, French Kiss bloke, yeah. Oh, Soz. Some French Kiss bloke was in the charts riding high, and everyone's like, you know, blah, blah. Yeah, French Kiss. So, just saying, Thursday night, there was this slightly dodgy promoter. Dick was the resident Thursday night, but it was like in between cool stuff and rave stuff. So it was like half the cool people, half the rave people. Yeah. And at this time, we all went to see Delight at the Hummingbird. It was Delight with PM Dawn, and it was like half the cool people, half the rave people. And it was just kind of just amalgamating. But no one will understand unless we're there because like all the cool kids hate the rave kids, and all the rave kids just wanted to be together with everyone. And I was in the middle of that, like kind of, I could dip my toe into either of this. But anyway, so this bloke was promoting this thing at Trusteens on a Thursday, not Rick's Monday. We can talk about Rick in a minute, hopefully, because Rick's a fucking legend. Remember Rick?
Not immediately, but maybe you'll jump on.
Remember Rick was fantastic doing that disco night on a Monday at Trusteens.
No, I can't even think where Trusteens is.
Come on, people, type Rick at Trusteens Monday night.
I can't even think where Trusteens was.
Fucking Newell Street, top of it on the right hand side as you go down the hill. You're not a brummie. You are not a brummie. You get back. Where are you now? Get back to fucking Spain.
They
You are not a brother. Just seems go to the crossroads, Colmore Road, whatever I just said. On the first thing on the right, Monday night, Rick, right? Thursday night, rave night, Dick resident, right? Some dodgy Coventry geezer. So he's booked Lil Louis. So the whole of Birmingham and the surrounding areas and all of Coventry turns up to see Little Louis, French Kiss, Little Louis, whatever it's called. But it wasn't. It was actually Little Louis Vega. And they put him on a box, on a fucking,
I don't remember that.
On a Thursday night, on a Corona, like pop bottle, wooden box behind the decks, doing this on a Thursday night in 1989.
Wow, DJ Pants. Someone's just said Monday night intro scenes. DJ
Rick,
Pants.
DJ Pants. DJ Pants on a Monday, Rick.
Nice one, Stevie. Andy Tomo as well. Everyone's piping up saying, so down from the Pigeon Park. But yeah, I mean, it would be easy for me to say, oh yeah, intro scenes. I remember the name clearly, but it's one of those things. Venus, I went to Venus so many times, I cannot for the life of me remember 1 second of being in Venus, but we digress.
I've got a story about Venus. Can I tell you my story about Venus? Right. So my favourite DJ in the whole world in like 1991 or 92 probably, was Dave Durrell. We'd all gone to Venus. There was some, I don't know, it's one of your things. It was like a white party, I think. So everyone was getting white and it was all fucking glowing and whatever and blah, 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 blah. And upstairs, and Venus was white. It was like glowing UV, popping. And Dave Durrell's on his play Dancing Queen. And we're all going, yeah, Dancing Queen. Da, da, da. Obviously, you wouldn't be into that. And Dick was playing downstairs, but I was like a fucking fanboy of Dave Durrell that it was like, Dave, if you're listening, fanboy. I was such a fanboy of Dave Durrell that I was upstairs just going like mental. Dave Durrell. He's upstairs in Venus with his top off, skinny, like E-body, like skinny as fuck, like nothing on him. Fucking played Dancing Queen, and then played DJ Dix, Original Rockers, Push Push. We can surely turn the tide. We can push the tempo by boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm DJ on singing. And I just thought, oh, for fuck's sake, fuck that. I'm going downstairs. Dick was on downstairs. And guess what Dick was playing?
The same record.
We can push the tempos by. That's my Venus story.
That's your Venus story.
Playing Dick's tune.
Right.
Massive.
Okay.
Me gone downstairs. Dick's playing it.
Reining you in then. So I need now for you to start pushing forward to when you say you dropped out of the rave around about the 92 era, and then we went very briefly back to the to the Aston Villa, the Birmingham rag market. But I need to get to the Wobble bit of the story, because there's I need to know how all that came about, because that just didn't happen overnight, did it?
Okay.
Emma, hiya Emma. Emma says, please don't sing, Bab.
So
hi Em.
Yeah.
She's in the chat.
What the how the fuck?
Oh dear.
Anyway, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Em, you in the chat?
She's watching with interest. Yeah, come on then.
No,
let's start going down the road as to,
Okay. So I need to take you back a little tiny bit.
Okay.
Nathan at Rococo or Dalby, I can't remember which one it was, but it was at the Reservoir. It was at the Tower Ballroom, right? And Nathan got given like half an hour at the end of the night, and he played 4
Jesus, is this the end of the story that you started 20 minutes ago?
Yeah. No, but it needs to happen.
Go on, do tell.
So Nathan played 4 Prince records in a row. Dance floor. Yeah, 4 Prince records. Everyone loves Prince. That's good. Oh, come on. When are we going to hear fucking Jackson Sisters? Just like,
Yeah.
The first time he'd ever been allowed, if that's a word, to DJ. Dick gave him the prime fucking spot at the fucking Edgbaston Reservoir Tower Ballroom. Then he played 4 Prince records in a row, dance floor. So I'm at work on Tuesday with Tracy, Dick's girlfriend, and Tracy says to me, this is where this was going. Tracy says to me, I was like, Nathan played a bit too much Prince, didn't he? Being the, you know, he's the coolest person in the world, but like I'm being like, well, Nathan played a bit too much Prince, and she went, yeah, why aren't you a DJ, Phil? You could DJ. Dick could give you a gig, and I was like this. So that time was about, I think that was about 1989. It might be 1990. But I went home, cuddled together all my 7 inches and my Balearic Beats album and my fucking, I don't know, that other album that everyone had at the time, that
Deep Beats.
Urban Classics album. You know, the Urban Classics, I bet you've got that in there somewhere. But you fucking better have. The Urban Classics album. And it was like, all of a sudden, overnight, I became a DJ. Obviously, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have that much really good music, but I became a DJ because Tracy went, why aren't you a DJ, Phil? So I have to thank Tracy for being here tonight.
Andrew Milford says, what's going on here?
Andrew Milford say, Tamworth Social, let's have it.
Right, okay. So there's too many stories, too many little incidences. Many stories, mate. I know. So this is why I'm going to direct you to the point where somewhere down the line, the conversation would have come up with somebody about we should be doing our own night. When did that?
No, that was me. That wasn't anyone else.
Okay, so tell us about that then.
Okay, now I can tell you the whole story. It's gonna take like 2 hours to just do 1991.
Well, no, but this is important. It's just me and you, and as I've said,
okay then,
it's very entertaining. You're very entertaining to listen to, and I'm sure people will understand. If they don't like it, then I'm sure they can take themselves off and do
understand me? Do you really? I'm Phil Gifford. Do you understand me?
Jesus, it's like Clockwork Orange.
No, so basically, right, okay. There was this girl called Alex, right? You're right.
She's watching and listening to everything you say.
Yeah. So there was this girl. I'm not going to have to eat my tea, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm talking to Andrew.
Yeah, Emma, I'm sorry, but we've got at least another hour and a half of chat here. Come and say hello, Em.
Come and say hello.
Come and say hello. Hello, darling. You all right?
Here she is.
You
My
okay?
saviour. Love her. She's the best.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm afraid you're going to have to eat tea without him.
Why?
Bless. Crack open the wine. I'll see you with the wine in the end. Go on, carry on. So
where are we going?
You were telling me about how the thought of you putting on your own party began.
Okay, right. So Alex, you might remember Alex. You probably won't remember Alex. But we used to go to safari at Coast to Coast on a Friday night. They used to do like flying nights. All the people who were like my age and older will know the flying nights. Disco Dave, blah blah blah. Dean Thatcher, Brandon, Weatherall, all that kind of shit. Like proper like Venus in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say that because I hold Birmingham in more respect than Nottingham, but Nottingham was quite a fucking.
Mm-hmm. When was Sasha? Sasha was on midweek on a Wednesday. Was that the same period?
Yeah,
before?
I don't really care about
that. All right, carry on.
To be fair.
All right.
So I used to go and watch Sasha on a Thursday at Broad Street, Burberry's or whatever it was. When Mark Partridge used to do it in Piers. Yeah.
All right.
And do you know that like 6 months younger than me that you are, like they had Sasha on a Wednesday, but like that means nothing to me over Vienna.
I'm sure they did something at Coast to Coast.
They did. I'm sorry, on a Wednesday, Sasha. But that was
okay. Let's get back to the people you hire.
I don't want to like dampen your squib, but it's that fine line of like that kind of fashion, rave, Sasha,
Now I remember.
Sasha's
Now,
one of my favourite DJs in the whole
no,
world. But
you know what
I
it
would
is?
not have gone to see Sasha on the Wednesday at Coast to Coast.
Now I remember
Because-
why I thought you was an arrogant twat. Now I remember. No, it's all coming back to me. Carry on, I'm only joking. Okay, so get back to flying then, because I want to get to the crux of you promoting.
So we used to go, and we'd all used to take little tablets and stuff. Yeah, so like Ming would be there on the dance floor. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Ming, big businessman, like with a tambourine. Ming and his tambourine. Yeah, Nathan would be there like with a kazoo, and there's all these other cool girls streaming cheers.
Sounds like a scene out of The Young Ones.
Yeah, it literally like a scene out of The Young Ones, just like that, like a scene out of The Young Ones, but slightly cooler. Yeah, Ming on a fucking tambourine, like Vivian on kazoo, right? And me hanging around because I wasn't quite friends with the real cool crowd just then, but like, you know, Ming gave me a go on his tambourine. That was cool. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm still
Get to the point. Get to the point. Get to the point.
The point is, right? So Alex says to me, I'm opening a shoe shop in town, Red or Dead. Have you heard of it? I'm like, fucking, of course I've heard of it. I've got fucking 3 pairs of shoes from Red or Dead. I'll go down to Derby Street in London. I'll buy then Christine Aaron's fucking square-toed shoes with the fucking big buckles on from fucking Red or Dead. I know fucking Red or Dead. She went, I'm opening Red or Dead and Stevenson Place. Do you know where I worked? Rizzo Group, hairdressers, Stevenson Place. Yeah? Get where I'm going with this?
Yes.
So she's gone, come and see me. I'm like, hello, come and see me. Alex, not fit but cool. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? One of those. Big tits, red hair, nice smile. Not fit but cool. You wouldn't say no. Anyway, this was the old days, guys. It's not 2021 snowflakes. So, after work on, I don't know, Thursday, whatever, I fucking trundled over from Rizzo Group, which was where Tracy and anyway, you know, trundled over the road, new unit being built. Alex here. No, you. Oh, I met her at Safari on Friday. She didn't mention you. She said you might come over. So I started talking to this bloke who was in there with like a Paul Weller haircut, kind of looking a bit like emaciated, looked like he did too much speed, because he does. And he said, oh, yeah, no, this is the first franchise of Red or Dead. I was living in Liverpool and I was working for Red or Dead. And I moved to Manchester and I was working for Red or Dead. And we just come to open this new franchise for Red or Dead. I'm like, oh, no, why it's cool. So I'm a hairdresser over the road. You DJ, don't you? It's like, yeah, I DJ. We used to do some nights in Manchester. Used to do a night in Manchester called Sting, which was a Thursday night where they like lit strange smelling stuff and played house music.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I know, weird. And within that 5 minutes of me speaking to Simon, I was like, oh, I'm looking to start a club in Birmingham because I DJ, but I can't get any work because I was shit. And so I was like, yeah, obviously because I'm new to Birmingham, I'd love to start a club. Never met him, ever. Met Alex at fucking Coast to Coast. Within 5 minutes, me and Si bonded and decided to open a club in Birmingham. Really? In 5 minutes, whilst he was building Red or Dead. 2 days later, we went to John Bright Street, and there was some restaurant club thing there with like a Chinese restaurant on the top and whatever. We walked in, we opened the door, and all the alarms went off. I can't remember what it was called. It was like called something like Johnny Wong's or something. All the alarms went off, and the police came, and me and Si were like, oh shit, sorry, what's going on? They're like, oh, the alarm went straight to the police station. We're like, oh, we're really sorry, but like, blah, 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 blah. We were just going to come in and ask if we could do a night here on like a weekend or something like that. I said, that's right, guys, carry on. So we walked out and we're like, oh, where should we go? I went, oh, I tell you where we should go. We should go down the road. We should ask that strip club. So we walked from John Bright Street down to what was it called? The Hotspot. Oh, bearing in mind, this is way, way, way before Spearmint Rhino and all those kind of strip clubs that we might know people that go to. So we walks in, and there's some bloke there, all suited and being like, "We want to do a night here." And he was like, "What sort of night?" And we were like, "We want to play house music and stuff." And he went, "Is there any drugs involved?" And we were like, "No, of course not." He went, "Okay, you can start next Sunday."
Wow.
So we started next Sunday, DJ Dick, week after Neil Macy, and the week after Lee Fisher, and we filled it. Okay, this is the story that you need to hear. Right. So the problem was, the week we started it, our good friend who we'd been going out with to all those do's and all the rest of it was doing a do at Branston's on a Sunday with Dean Thatcher. And at the time, Dean Thatcher was like the Johnny Big Bollock. So Branston's Sunday, Dean Thatcher, probably only cost 300 quid at the time, but like 300 quid in 1991 was a fucking lot of money. I mean, I paid and spent £300 on Dean Thatcher. So John, God bless his soul, put Dean Thatcher on, but me and Si, who I worked in a hairdresser site, just opened a new shoe shop. I was like fucking Mr. fucking pest around town, fucking giving birds loads of pills and fucking just having it large, fucking till Gifford. So I knew everyone. We managed to like pack out our, probably only 200 people, 200 people on a fucking Sunday night, pack out 200 people. And John at Branston's had about 12 people in for Dean Thatcher and like lost loads of money. So 2 weeks later, we got a phone call. This is Dave. I'm the owner of Branston's. I went, okay, yeah. He went, "Do you want to come down so we can have a chat? Because I think we need to do something." We were like, yeah, too right. So me and Si go down, fucking yellow, kind of just nothing, just kids.
Naive, kids.
Yeah, naive kids. Me, just like fucking arrogant. Yeah, we're fucking. So we walk in, and Dave's there, and he's like, he's probably got a poppy and like a double-breasted suit, white shirt and shiny shoes, and his left-hand man, Pete, he's there in the same gear. It's like, so I was just like, it's like, can you come and do you want to come and do Sunday nights here? And we were like, well, we're all right doing Sunday nights. Saying, well, do you want to come do Sunday nights here? We're like, okay, we'll do a couple of Sunday nights here and see what happens. We stopped doing the hotspot and went to Branston's, and we did Christmas Day and New Year's Day, not Sundays, but like just things. And it was fucking empty. There was like 50 people there. But for some reason, Dave was really impressed that we got 50 people on Christmas Day and 50 people on New Year's Day. And he was like, okay, come down. I want to show you something.
Push your screen back a little bit so I can see more of your beautiful face. There you go.
So, and this is all in about 4 or 5 weeks. This isn't like, a long time scale, which is why I can't quite remember how it happened. But it was like, can you come down? Like, yeah, of course I can. Came down, took us up to the top of the stairs. Ladies in Perfect Shape gym. Right, outside of Wobble was a sign that said Ladies in Perfect Shape gym. Right, there's a fucking a jacuzzi, pedaling bike. It's fucking 1991. It wasn't fucking any of that modern shit. It was like, there's a jacuzzi that was like someone's paddling ball, and a bike that just like was like, oh my god, this is really hard, man. One of those kind of things against the wall. Like, you want to do a club here? What was I like? I was like, what was I? 20, 21? This was like the end of 1991. Might have been early 92. We were like, yeah. Perhaps we could do a club there. It was like, and because it's a members club, you can have it till 7 o'clock. You can have, in fact, if you want it, you can have it for 24 hours. Like,
wow. So I have actually spoken to Jim, but just remind me, is it, so this is before Bonds had opened? Way before. Okay.
Okay.
Right, okay. No problem.
So massive respect to Jim and Mike and Derm and Lee, because I have to go back a bit here.
Sorry, me and my big mouth.
Okay, anyone who's bored listening, I have to go back a bit here. So when I was working at the Rizzo Group, yeah, Depot was around the corner. And Depot was when they got your tapes, when they got your flyers and whatever. But I knew these boys were doing nights and stuff, and they were like faces around town. So I'd like lunch break, afternoon break, just kind of in between. I'd just like whiz around. And I'm just like stop looking at the flyers and asking about tapes and this, that, and the other. Because I knew they weren't rave, they were like house. I knew they were like, they weren't rave, even though they were making money from selling tickets to whatever, they were house. And I thought I was house. I didn't know what fucking house was, to be fair. And I made friends with them. Literally, just going around and hanging around, having a chat, whatever. Because me and Tony were playing at Notes, somehow, somewhere, our first ever gig. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, all the Depot boys. Me and Tony got booked for Baskerville Hall at the first ever Chuff Chuff after playing a couple of their boat parties. They booked us for their boat parties because we had mates and we'd bring our mates with us. So like we had all these like young kids who were fucking off their head on fucking pills and selling pills. They invited us. So Ryan Futrell, if you're watching, I don't know, Matty, all of those, all of these people, we were just kids fucking off our heads, fucking having it live, right? And we got invited to fucking play fucking records on a fucking boat, me and Tony, and our mate Chris Fitzmaurice, who's elsewhere. But this was the thing then. It was like, well, these kids might know someone. Because Jim's probably, 6, 7 years older than me, might be 8 years older than me. Mike's probably 5 years older than me. And like I do, like you, like we all know, it's like you need to kind of keep the equilibrium growing. And the reason me and Alex are mates is because like Alex is like 4 or 5 years younger than me. Alex from Heritage, and it's like he's got his clan. I'm 52. Most of my crowd is 50. But if you intermingle the two, you can like have a really, really good party. And it was the same back in the day. Mm-hmm. It's like Jim and Mike got us in because we could get.
I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it was that calculated. To be fair, I think it was just the way that it went.
Not in a bad way, but just like we just all. I think we just all got on together because we took pills.
It just gelled. Okay. Yeah, just threw that in there. Okay, so back to Branston's then, doing the club here Sunday nights.
So then he offered us like the Saturday, because when Dean Thatcher had played on that Sunday, there was like nobody there. Well, the hot spot where me and Si were doing, there was like 200 people there. So the week after that happened, I don't think who it was. John, John. He always tells the story a different way because he says that we were like, Dean Thatcher's not coming. He's not going. Don't go there. Don't believe them. Blah, 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 blah. But John's a mate of ours now, so it doesn't really matter. So we got invited over to Branston's and just said, do you want this attic? We were like, yeah. So what happened was, at the time, Barney and Carl were doing cream every 2 weeks.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were already doing cream, and that was at different venues, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Barney and Carl just previously started cream, and at the time, anything that was all night was like a goer. Anything that was all night was a goer. But we'd just been given the okay to fucking have an all night club every Saturday if we wanted to. So we were like, okay, let's not piss Barney and Carl off because, it's Barney and Carl and we're just kids. But, let's fucking have it. So we said, okay, let's just do it every 2 weeks. So we'll do it every 2 weeks. So we're like, we'll do it on 27th of March, the 5th of blah, 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 blah. But what happened was, in between that time, Money and Cole's weekends changed. So our opening night was when Cream was on, and our second one was when Cream was on. But it wasn't supposed to be like that. What was supposed to happen was like we were supposed to be on, they were supposed to be on, we were supposed to be on, they were supposed to be on, but it just like, you know, they move venues, blah, 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 blah. And it got a little bit, not hairy, because we were all mates, but it got a little bit hairy. And so we did the first one, and the first one was a weird success. There was like queues at the back of the fucking alley, and everyone had to join in and blah, blah. The air conditioning broke, blah, 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 blah. And but it was the same night with Cream song. So the guys that own the club, Pete and Dave, just said to us, why don't you do next week and just do it every week? And we were just like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So we ended up just doing it the next week, which was busy, and carrying on, just in the upstairs room, back entrance, Spencer Street, upstairs room. I mean, most you could squeeze in was probably 300 people. It was licensed for like 80 or something stupid. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
So where did the name Wobble come from? Was it anything to do with the dance floor, the infamous bouncy dance floor?
No. Okay, so me and Si are in the Red or Dead stock room over the road from Rizzo in my lunch break. I'm going, what are we going to call it? And I was kind of thinking kind of something, you know, it's the early 90s. I was like, slippery when wet. Like what about Glamorama? You know, that kind of, you know what I mean? Just like, so I was like looking at me like this. What are you talking about, Willis? Do you know what I mean? Like, proper like fucking stock bit. So we were like brainstorming a little bit. And then he went, if you're the new Joe Wobble, I went, Joe Wobble, Wobble. And he went, yeah, Wobble. And that's it.
Wow, as simple as that.
It went from slippery and wet to like, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
So at the big, yeah, carry on.
So we turn up on the Friday when the sound system's been put in. The sound system's in all four corners, and it's like a low roof. We walk in and we're like, yeah, man, this is wicked. Put a record on. Turn around to put another record on. Oh, fuck. Jesus, what the fuck? It's like, oh, fucking hell. Just because someone like moves on the floor in front of it, the whole fucking deck's moved. Like, shit. Fuck. So someone very clever, Dave, who owned the club, went, that's all right. We'll just put the decks on change so they're not bouncing up and down. I mean, me and Sol were like, okay, yeah, whatever. So we put the decks on change for the next day. So they're just like floating. So anyone that jumped up and down. And then everyone was like, the club's called Wobble because when you dance on it, the fucking whole floor wobbles because it used to be a gym and it was ladies in perfect shape gym with a fucking sprung floor. Complete
coincidence.
Yeah. And we just went with it. We're like, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing to do with it whatsoever.
So to begin with,
Joe Wobble, thank you.
So to begin with, yourself, Si Long, Ming wasn't a resident, was he, at the beginning?
No.
When did Miss Dukes come along?
So
the lovely Helen, should we say?
Yeah, probably in 90, might have been late 93, 94. Obviously, I'm a man who looks ahead. Decided that we needed some female input into the club.
Is that because all your flyers were so what's the word? Masochistic? Not masochistic. You were just so sexist with all your scantily clad females and everything. So politically incorrect. I need to redress the balance.
Okay. So when I was about 9 or 10, my mom was the manager of the Claremont Rovers under-10s football team, and she was a female manager.
She was the manager of what? Sorry, I lost you there.
The under-10s Claremont Rovers football team.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, your local kids side, yeah. My mom was the manager of the under-10s, which I was the centre forward. Yeah. So as much as no one might agree with this, I actually understood where women and ladies would come from because they deserve to be part of the thing. So my mum was the manager of the under-10s, and she fucking loved it. That was like part of her life, and she was really happy about it. And I thought, hold on a minute, this whole fucking disco, fucking rave, acid house thing. There's what, like 2 DJs? I need to get a female DJ involved. We went back to some after party in Edgbaston. Off our nuts. Loads of people there fucking doing this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. I started talking to this guy. She was like, yeah, I'm the DJ. I was like, oh, can you send me a tape? Because I'd really like to have a girl DJ on board. And she sent me a tape, and it wasn't the best tape in the world, but I really wanted to have a girl DJ on board. And I got Helen on board. And that's how it happened, because I understood that you can't have a really vile man world of fucking DJs, just blokes, when there's loads of girls out there that are as good or better.
That's crazy to hear you say that, and then you put out flyers with girls with little flyers covering their boobs and everything, which could have been
definitely
perceived as quite sexist at the time. Well, actually, no, at the time it was great. Now looking back, it's just like,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many tales, so many stories, so many huge nights.
You can ask Helen about that. Helen will tell you. Helen will tell you where she met me, in that place in Edgbaston. And I said, give us the tape, and she would tell you. And you know, it was like, if I was like the Predator, I would have like been like, give me a tea. Any chance you can suck me off, you know? But no, you ask Helen all of that story, and it's like completely legit.
So you definitely put Birmingham on the map, didn't you? Clubbing up. Clearly, there's a big history before, but you were starting to get a lot of headlines. So how long was it after? I mean, we're talking about Wobble now, but how long was it before the steering wheel opened? Because Cream was already doing their late nights, but when did the steering wheel open as an entity? Can you remember?
I'm not sure what happened where along the lines, but like the steering wheel, then there was Silver Slipper.
I can't remember that.
Q Club, 20 pennies first.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that with Jim. Sorry, yes.
And then Money Pennies. Well, what was really, really good for us was like what happened was, like, I turned a whole corner. There was no such thing as cool people anymore. Yeah, which is fine. There was no such thing as cool people anymore. It was like, oh no, we don't go there, we go there. But it wasn't cool because it was all the same fucking thing. It was like just people playing Handbag House.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says, we were all playing Handbag House, all of us, yeah? All apart from Solon, who was not playing Handbag House. But we're all playing Handbag House, yeah?
Or Ming.
I mean, Ming wasn't DJ. Ming didn't DJ for like 15 years because he wasn't playing Handbag House. So, you know, everyone was just playing Handbag House. Yeah, you were, I were, all of us. Yeah, John Hollis, fucking Jarman, plus 8, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, steering wheel opened. Mark, Piers, Adam. But at the time, it didn't matter because fucking Birmingham was massive.
Yeah.
Right? Money Pennies open after the Silver Slipper, which was a little bit tricky, but it was just down the road. But what people failed to realise is that 11 o'clock when we used to open, because we used to open at 10, then we changed to 10:30, then we changed to 11. 11 o'clock, we'd have a queue outside every week. All those people would come in, and at 12 o'clock, after the warm-up set, you'd let it go, and you'd fucking put Alison and Rick on and just fucking bang it out about 12 o'clock, and everyone would fucking start fucking dancing. It was like fucking having it. Both floors, you know, boom, boom, boom. 12 o'clock, Alison and Rick upstairs, opens, side playing deep house and fucking techno and wild pitch and blah, 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 blah. Great. Yeah. All those people, 2, 3, 4, would fade out. We'd have another queue at 2, 3, and 4 o'clock. From Money Pennies, steering wheel, whatever, fucking all of that stuff. In the same way that Barney would have a queue at Cream, and I don't know, fucking what's his name would have a queue at whatever the fuck that was called.
I can't think of any other late night
Cabello.
Gaston and Cabello.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. I was a resident for that up the road from money.
Yeah, you can't even remember.
I can't. No, I do remember. I just didn't know that when you were talking about that. So that was 94 times.
But the whole of the country was going out, raving, taking pills and fucking having it all night, all weekend, go out on a Friday, go out to Wednesday to Baker's, have a rest on Thursday, go to Snobs on a Friday, come to Fun, go to Money Pennies, come to Wobble, blah, 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 go to Cabela, go to Cream, go to fucking, what's your Sunday shit thing?
Marco's.
Go to Marco Polo's in my fucking VW, fucking, yeah, I might come to Marco Polo's, blah, blah, blah. You and Patrick and whatever fucking giving it large. Like, we were having it. We were having it. Like, no one's had it before since the Sex Pistols, since fucking, I don't know, the Blitz, like since the Blitz, the Sex Pistols, and since all of that stuff, since fucking Tony Colson hated fucking doing Sunrise, since what's his name doing fucking, I don't know, Alistair Whitehead CD, blah 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 blah. You,
Fantasia.
Me, yeah, Fantasia. You, me, Barney, Carl, all that shit. We're fucking having it. But early 90s, mid 90s. That's it.
Yeah, totally. And your lineup.
We used to come to yours, get a knockback because we look fucking so off our head. I'm like, fucking hell, what do you mean? I'm fucking doing Wobble up the road. They're like, no, go Tintins.
No, dear, it's crazy. So listen, you took pride in the lineups that you were putting on because you were going for, well, you said there were cool kids. There was no, it wasn't that the crowd at Wobble was perceived as cooler or whatever, but you definitely had more underground names on your lineups down the years than your run of the mill. I really didn't mean to say run of the mill. You know,
it's not run of the mill.
No, not at all. But so Saturday night at Fun, for example, I don't mean run of the mill because for me to get on a lineup at Fun was sort of like, I was pestering Barney for months and months and months. And I remember him coming to me at Marco saying, yeah, you know, just, we'll get you on one day. We'll get you on one day. And then I can't even remember when, but I got there. So, you know, that was up there. That was just like an achievement, but their lineups were more mainstream lineups, basically, you know, Graham Park, Alistair Whitehead, that kind of thing. Whereas your lineups
were all really good.
Of course, but your lineups were,
Graham Park's a legend.
Yeah, but I'm getting to the fact that your lineups were more kind of Josh Wink, Justin Robertson, DJ Sneak. Would you agree? Different than what everyone else was doing.
Yeah. Was it a good business decision?
It seemed to be for a long time.
Okay, so I'm mates with like most of the agents and the people and all that kind of stuff because I like realised what you had to do back then. You know, I mean, you've been in hotel rooms at Chuff and, you know, having a party, entertaining other people because, you know, that's what you do. Not for whatever reason, just like, you know, because it's fun. And that's what you do. We're all part of this scene. And but at some point, I think it was about 1997, I think, possibly. Okay, let me start this from the start. Because of Wobble, I used to get gigs elsewhere. So I'd go and play Back to Basics, I'd go and play at, I don't know, Progress, or I'd go and play at Lakota and all the rest of it, blah, 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 blah. Which meant I had to leave Simon in charge. Simon's a very, 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 very good DJ. But
I can see the wheels in your head thinking, how can I put this diplomatically?
he only looks at the floor when he's DJing. Yeah. So Simon plays like this. Yeah. And I'm like, I've given up hairdressing. You know, I've like knocked up everything on the head, and this is my ticket. This is my money. This is my, you know, I'm looking after my wife, my house, blah 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 blah. Every time I leave Si, it's like, Si, you gonna play for the crowd? Yeah, of course I will. size I was playing for the crowd, he had one record, which was a Michael Jackson. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. It was Michael Jackson. He played Michael Jackson, and he played this, which is fine if you're not trying to make a business out of your business. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, at least he didn't play Prince 4 times.
No, he fucking didn't. Thank you, Nathan. Which actually got me into DJing. So anyway, so yeah, like.
So basically, the scene was changing. You can't put all the onus on Si. Clearly, you know, some of the nights, some of the lineups, maybe you got to take some responsibility for some of the lineups that you chose. Then, from what you were saying, maybe didn't go in line.
I booked every DJ from 1992 till 2002.
Okay.
Every DJ. So I never booked a DJ ever.
So some of the decisions then, when maybe didn't work in your favour towards the back end.
So basically, right, I remember that. Okay, all right. Dave Beer, if you're listening, you're fucking out of order. Right, so we're in the office, right? We have a studio, a really nice studio. We've got fucking hooked up, massive studio. We got to deal with deconstruction. We got 30 grand for the studio. We got 30 grand in advance. Fucking next door, yeah. But the office with the fax machine and the new internet email stuff was next door to that. So we're there. Someone phones or faxes, so I was like, what do you want? I'm like, fucking outside, get off, fucking out. Oh, hello, this is Wobble, how can I help you? You know, kind of thing. So, like, no, it's not Side's fault, it's just the sort of person he is. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. All right, yeah, Dave Bear. All right, Dave, how you doing? You gonna give me a gig? No, I'm off. So Dave Bear phones me. He went, I saw something the other day, blah, blah, this, and that, and the other. Dave Bear was basically phoned me to say to me, what you want to do is stop booking Jeremy Healy. Honestly, out of the blue. I'm like, I know what you're saying, because he pulls less of a crowd now. I mean, John Please pulls, 1,500. Jeremy only pulls like 1,000. You know, what you're saying? It's like, stop booking Jeremy Healy. I'm like, okay, if I do, will you do? Jeremy, if you're listening, it's fucking Dave Bear's fault. Honestly, I have nothing to do with him anymore. So, literally, because Jeremy's my mate. Fucking Jeremy is my fucking mate. We fucking go way back. He's like, we fucking went to a beef together. He's a fucking good bloke. We're having a really good time, blah, blah. Don't book Jeremy Healy. And because Back to Basics, I thought was like really cool because they like book, I don't know, fucking Boo Williams or fucking Kerry Chandler or this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, of course, Dave, yeah, fucking wicked. Instead of just using my fucking brain, right, after that, we stopped with Jeremy Healy. We're like, actually, to be honest, Fran, we don't really want Jeremy anymore. He's not really for us. Put the phone down. Look at fucking the lineup of fucking Back to Basics a week later. Moneypennies with Jim Ryan. It's like, hold on a minute, what the fuck are you doing? You told us to stop fucking Jeremy Hill and you fucking book Moneypennies with fucking Jim Ryan and we're fucking down the road, you cunt. This is a true story. It's like, you fuck off. Right, so basically, in about 97, we stopped booking any, what you would call, I don't know, what they're called.
Superstar DJs.
Like, they're my mates, but like
Handbag House, mainline DJs.
Household names, yeah, like housewives' favourites, blah blah blah. Yeah?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Changed our logo a little bit and blah blah blah. But housewives' favourites at the end of the day. As much as they're our mates, we like so we start fucking booking like I don't know, Angel Murray's, Dave Angel, Josh Wing. Just
Yeah.
I would like to say quality DJs, but now when I think back at it, like they're no more quality than fucking Jeremy. They're no more quality than fucking whoever. Because, if you get paid to do a job, you get paid to make people dance. And if you make people dance, you're earning your money and that's fine.
Indeed.
Do you know what I mean?
Matt's loving this story.
It's like
Matt Blythe's loving this story, especially with the Moneypennies connection. Yeah. Okay. So that's
it's like there came to a point where, unfortunately, what happened was, and I can tell you when the point broke. We put Laurent Garnier. We managed to get Laurent Garnier. And the week before, a week after, we had Josh Wing. So they played all night, 7-8 hours, all night upstairs. But it was a little turn. But because I was, and don't take this wrong, because at the time I was popular DJing elsewhere, I didn't really know what was going on because I was going and playing in fucking, I don't know, Cardiff, Margate, Leeds, Kent, fucking blah, blah. 500 quid a throw from fucking Venus Agency. You were there, you remember? Yeah. I was going there and then coming back afterwards and just seeing this thing going on. So I fucking in the office doing loads of whiz and fucking smoking loads of weed. And me just fucking, hammering up the fucking snizzle. It was just like it wasn't like it used to be. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So we're talking 97, 98 times.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and it just changed. It was like I was like, I'm not fucking booking any Jeremy Healy's. But the problem, Jeremy Healy's or John Please, and John's a fucking great DJ. John used to be like John Please. If you're watching John Cooper, right? John used to come and play fucking banging Daft Punk tracks, acid tracks, fucking big, massive fucking house tunes, like proper, like he would DJ like I would DJ. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But John fucking Please was the man. Stop booking him. Stop booking Jeremy Lee. Stop booking all those people. Don't book Seb Fontaine. Don't book Alison Whitehead. We'll have someone cooler
that's not going to get as many people into your club.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You liked a comment that was put on my wall earlier by a good friend of mine who frequents the vocal booth now, saying that they used to travel up from down south on a weekly basis. You did, because you had a lot of good coverage in the press for Wobble, and you also and you used to get a lot of people travelling around because, as you said, part of the story you were just saying, we were all having it. Birmingham was well and truly on the map, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, it was indeed. So I'm going to skip over this, but we can't talk about it. There's no problem with the time, but I don't want to get into the whole thing. We totally didn't even mention the part where you were working on Choice FM, and then I got your radio show.
So
I said we weren't going to talk about it, but go on, you might as well.
I can talk about this because I just like flick you off Choice FM, right? So basically, like, for some reason, Charlie Chester got asked to find someone who could fill a spot in a dance music slot on Choice FM, and Charlie Chester said to Choice FM, "You don't even know about this." Bill Gifford, because I was mates with Charlie at the time, because we used to go out fucking raving, blah, 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 flying, all that, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, it was at that exact time that things were changing, and I thought I was cooler than that. And it's like, I'm not fucking going to play fucking CC Rogers. I'm going to play fucking Alison and Rick. I'm going to play fucking Acid Trance. I'm going to play this, and this, and this, and this. But also, the day before, I might have been out till 7 a.m, playing at Wobble, or in Brighton, playing till 3 and come back. And I just had and then turned up at Choice FM's office on a Sunday night, up the stairs with no production, no engineering, nothing, and have to do a show. So I'd be like being sick in the bin because I've been off my head like this. This is a new one from DJ Pierre. And my mates in Gillett Road who used to listen to me would send me messages on not on a phone because no one had phones then, because it wasn't even fucking 1999, on the whatever it was you could send messages on, whatever it was, going, oh, there was a bit of a gap there. Did you forget to put the fucking record on? And it was just like, I got paid £5 an hour to play records that I didn't even fucking like. So I started taking the piss, which was a very, very, very arrogant thing to do because it probably could have taken me somewhere a little bit better, but I couldn't be asked.
Very, very fortunate timing that all happened. It happened around the same time as a drum and bass DJ on the Friday got caught smoking weed, so he got booted off.
All crazy.
And then on the Saturday afternoon something else was happening, and then and your show on the Sunday, just at the same time where someone had come to ask me at Marco's if we wanted to advertise on Choice FM, and if I did, I'd be able to do a mix for them.
So basically, what happened was, right, the guy from the morning show, it was like a proper like, "Hey, my name's Dave Doubledex. Let's fucking go there." You know, fucking, you know, Dave Doubledex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think his name was Brody Swain.
Yes.
Brody Swain. Yeah. Brody Swain, if you're listening. Right. So Brody Swain.
Jesus, I forgot all about Brody.
Exactly. So Brody Swain's going to me going, "Hey Phil, I think I need to like let you know that like you need to settle down a little bit. It's like you're English, why are you talking fucking American? You twat. Your name's fucking Brody Swain, your fucking name's actually Brian Smith." Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck off, Brody. So Brody's come to me, right? And Brody had this like I used to have to do like jingles for like all the other things, and Brody's like, "Hey, breakfast show with Brody Swain." Yeah,
you have to put the carts in. Show, yeah. You have to fire the carts.
Yeah, got turn the sound. I went, twat. So I'm in Baker's on Wednesday. I think Graham Park or Carl Cox or some massive DJ was on. The whole world was there. And Brody comes up to me and goes, "Hi Phil, I think I need to talk to you about Sundays on Choice FM." I'm like this. "Yeah, what are you saying, Brody? What are you saying? What's this?" And Brody's going, "Well, I like what you need to do is not turn the music down and call me a twat." I'm like, "Oh, right, you heard that then?" He's like, yeah. So don't do that again. I'm like, "Okay, no problem, Brody." Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
That's my Choice FM story.
Brilliant. I'm glad I brought it up now. So let's skip forward then. So Wobble was wobbling, so to speak. I'm interested to hear you, and I'm just going to repeat again because we are an hour and 45 into this. We're not trying to get any kind of definitive timeline. We're just having a really good conversation. And if you're recently passing by, thank you for being here. I'm sure many people are coming back to get the second part of the viewing.
Who's listening? How many people are there? How many people are watching?
Oh, we got thousands. We got thousands of people watching. Dale Payne is chuckling to himself.
Tamworth Massive.
John Harris is saying, "Funny as fuck this," as is TC Lester and a few others. I don't want to mess and scroll up because I don't want to mess my computer. But what I would be interested in finding out, and I started to say, so many people will come back and be taking this in snippets because it's a really interesting story. When we then get to around, for me, 99, and amongst all of this, I've got to know you. You were there way before my starting to become a DJ. I was starting to make a good name for myself.
We met at Tracines.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't, would you? Right, okay, so, right. I think I was booked for Crunch because we used to swap band a bit.
Yeah.
Like, you came up to me. I was at the bar at Tracines thinking I was just being a bit arrogant, just being like the bloke at the bar. On it might have been a Monday, might have been a Thursday, blah, blah. And you come up to me, "All right, Phil, I've seen your name around in the Mixed Mags listings. You play here, you play there, and all of that." And because I was such an arrogant fucking self-centered guy, I'd be like, "Yeah, what about it, man? Blah, blah, blah." And you were like, "Well, I just noticed you were playing, so it's good." And then you said to me, "I've been playing here and I've been playing there." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, I don't care." And then literally the following Friday, I was playing I think it was a warm-up for Mark, for Jarmuth. If you're listening, Mark, that was when we fell out with each other, and we've made friends since, so it's all fine. I was just like, literally, I was just like leaning on the corner of the decks, playing Tony the Bar or something, just like this, pretending to be really cool. And you went, "Fucking hell, you're more laid back than me." And that was the first time we ever met. Just scenes on Thursday, and then or Monday, and then Crunch on the Friday.
So that would have been the first time that we spoke.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
So because that was 96-ish, maybe 97 or before.
Might have been 93, 94.
I don't know.
What year did Crunch start?
I can't think. I really can't. I'm sure John Hollis will be able to tell us if he watches it. But yeah, so just for everyone will know, Crunch was on the Friday.
Yes, please make this known.
Yeah, Crunch was on a Friday, and that was a lot more kind of a bit of a slightly younger crowd and a little bit more mainstream. Not cheesy at all, but it was more up for it. Wobble was more cooler, and Crunch was like full on. And then so Fridays was Crunch at Branston's, and Slag was on Fridays at the Steering Wheel. So you had sort of like Slag and Crunch were kind of competitors, even though we were all friends. That's
Yeah,
right.
but that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, you know, you were saying earlier that me and Wobble and Cream or Wobble and Fun might have been competitors. I think because there was so much going on at the time, and it's what I say here. Because, hey guys, at the moment I run a coffee shop in a sleepy Cotswold town. It wasn't about competitors. It was about choice for people to go out.
Yeah. That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
That is totally true. And because there was enough.
And at the time, because there was so many places to go out that were like you want to go to, you could go to them all.
And they did have their own identity, and they did have their own identity eventually. And you would see from the crowds and the kind of people that went to certain places, which reminds me, which I cannot forget. Tell us about the ridiculous dress codes at Wobble, for Christ's sake. Whose idea was that? Actually, no, it all falls into place. 2 hours ago, when you were talking about wanting to be a fashion designer, where you were put on your flyers, no moustaches, no boating shoes, no Stone Island, no Burberry. You were basically saying we don't want loads of football hooligans in, weren't you?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, without saying that.
Yeah, and what happened was a few years later, we like actually became quite good mates with half the football hooligans. But at the time, what you got to understand is like, because I came from like a fashion, like rare group background. There was no firms. There was no nothing. You know,
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
I remember this. I'm sorry to cut you off. Coming into the club the one day, and you were stood on the door because you weren't always on the door, and you looked some kid up and down, and you went, mate, take your shirt out. You're not coming in here with your shirt tucked in. Couldn't believe it.
I know. It sounds funny now, and it's not funny then. But like, you know, that was at the time. At the time, you really had to make a stand because, like, you might fucking laugh, fucking Castlevania boy, right?
It's endearing.
It's not endearing. It's like I was from a place where, like,
which is why I've got this T-shirt on, by the way, just to wind you up.
Yes, exactly. Right, I was from a place where we did not hang around with fucking football hooligans, apart from Mark Cole, if you're listening, or Paul Cole, right? It was not a thing, right, at all. And when we were starting the club, we didn't want that football hooligan element. I didn't watch football. I was into football when I was in. Oh, you know. Okay. This would take hours. I can't even go there. But no, we didn't want football hooligans in there.
Okay.
But later on, yes, we all made friends and lots of footballers came in there. But also, in between that stage, I turned away a lot of football hooligans and could have actually had my face shut off for it. So sorry if I ever turned you off.
But you became famous for it.
I didn't really know about that kind of shit.
You got write-ups about it, about the crazy door policy, and it was infamous. It was crazy. You know, so again, it's one of those things. You can't be in the clubbing industry for 30 years and not have a million stories to tell. I want to get to the point now where, because I'm interested to hear your take on it, how the so let's skip forward very quickly, and then I'm going to bring you back. When did Wobble close? When did you stop doing Wobble?
So what happened was, in about 2001, might have been 2002.
Okay, well, if that's the date, I'm going to stop you. let me stop you if that's the date, because before we get to there, I'm sorry to stop you because I don't want to then bring
Ministry
you
role.
back. I don't want to bring you back a few years. Tell me about, because without you, and I've said this to you before, without Phil Gifford, there probably would not be a vocal booth or a vocal booth weekender, because Phil took charge of the Ministry of Soundbar on Broad Street, and he offered me the Thursday evening, which is where I began the vocal booth. I was riding high on the radio. I was traveling all around the country, doing really quite well. So tell us about how that happened, and if you remember why you asked me along, because I'd be interested to hear.
So along the way, I met a lot of interesting and influential people, I suppose is what you want to call it. The Ministry of Sound were looking for a new chain of bars. Someone who used to be on my radar, basically we used to get our friends together on a Sunday, Amy, had moved to London and basically said to Ministry of Sound that she was part of the door crew at Wobble and blah, 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 and got into the Ministry of Sound. When the Ministry of Sound were coming to Birmingham, they said to Amy, why didn't you go and speak to that bloke who you used to work for? Whatever. So Amy came and spoke to us and offered me the job of promotions manager at the Ministry of Sound. And what happened was I got given a budget of putting things on per night. And luckily enough for you and for Toby Delagua and for those drum and bass kids on Thursday, I can't even remember what they're called, from the university, I could pay for your DJs and put you on. And it was because I knew you and I knew that you might have a pull. And I remember speaking to you saying, okay, do you want to come and do this thing? You're like, yeah, I've got a name for the night. I think I'm going to call it vocal booth. I'm like, you call it what you want, blah, blah, blah. And there was dance dancers and it was like, all like, it was like that, just that creeping of UKG kind of thing, sweet like chocolate, blah, 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 which you didn't want to play, but you played because it was cool and it was this and that. And it was like, you know, there was a good time. Toby was playing breaks, you were playing UKG and
Well,
house.
actually, no, but it started off as
house on a Friday and Saturday.
It started off as purely house. It was only towards the back end that the UKG like, you know, you were saying about Cy Long with his head down, not watching the dance floor. It got to the point where it was like UKG, you could not stop that roller coaster. So it was a case of, right, we've got to give the crowd a little bit of this. But for a long time, I don't know how long, a year or so, it was just purely quality underground soulful vocal house at a time where the music everywhere else in the main rooms was like banging really quite hard stuff.
Just fast stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible. So how long did it last? Because I can't remember. Was it 18 months?
2.5 years.
Was it 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Can you remember, was I there till the end? Or did I leave before it finished?
So it's a little bit sketchy, but right, I was having a tricky time with my my ex-wife at the time because we were having babies and stuff, and babies weren't happening, that kind of, you know, on shit. And Isaac, my son, was born in 99, but between about the early years of 99 to 2001, we were all at ministry getting paid.
Yeah.
But I don't know when after 2000, 2001, it all just, because what happened was, basically, like, the Ministry of Sound didn't really put anything into it. It was a Bass brewery bar. Amy, who took me on, was told to go and find someone to promote it. I promoted it well. The people that were there said, oh yeah, he's great, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, at some point when it wasn't obviously making 35% on X amount of days, blah, 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 business, blah, 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 blah. Let's get rid of Ministry of Sound and let's just do this. Blah, 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 blah. So, and then it wasn't ministry anymore. When it wasn't ministry anymore, some fucking bloke came in and was like, so where'd you get your DJs from? Where'd you book this? Where'd you do that? I'm like, I'm not going to fucking tell you that, am I? And then I got sacked.
Right. Okay,
that was about, I think that was about 90. I think that was about 92. I think
2002.
it might have been halfway through 91.
2002.
Yeah,
because
sorry,
I remember
2001.
because I remember specifically again another New Year. You and I were playing on the New Year's Eve, and you played song. What's it called?
Song 2 by
Song,
Blur.
song,
Yeah.
song 2 on the stroke
Song
of
2 by
midnight.
Blur.
Yeah.
Fucking went off.
Went off big time. We had some great times in there. I'm
not even joking, Andrew. Right, the whole of Birmingham was empty. We'd sold out, and I've got Jem Atkins. Jem, if you're listening, we've used it since. But I asked Jem if he could make me a song 2 loop. Ba 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 ba. That whole fucking loop of the whole song 2 for like 5 minutes.
Went off.
Yeah, thanks.
Went off.
And it went off. It was sold out. It was like
it was insane.
The only venue in Birmingham that sold out. You couldn't drive your car down Broad Street. You couldn't drive your car anywhere. And
that was the Millennium.
It was you and me. And after that, I let you on. I put you on.
Yeah. It was the Millennium. To seeing the Millennium. So there was that whole furore about the world's going to collapse because the clocks aren't going to know what to do. So I left there, saw in the New Year, then played, then I went over the road to Key Largo, which was absolutely shit, horrible, and then I had to drive all the way down to London. This is on New Year's Eve. Drove all the way down to London for a gig I was supposed to play at. When I got to London, the gig had been cancelled. Oh, it was a horrible New Year's Eve for me. Me and my mate Tippo. Big up Tippo.
I saw Tippo on Saturday at Hockley Social Club.
Oh, did you? Bless him.
Yeah.
I thought today I should ring him. Anyway, so that's the vocal booth story and the Ministry of Sound bar story. So thank you very much for that, Phil.
Yeah, well, okay. If anyone's listening, it was me who made vocal booth.
Totally. And I always give credit where credit is due. You gave me the opportunity, so thank you for that. So then let's get to the story of the demise of Wobble then.
Harsh.
All right. Tell us how Wobble ended then.
Harsh. Yeah, we should have shut it down in like 98, 99. Basically, I did it right. So I started New Tonic upstairs. When breaks, hip hop, trip hop, breaks, blah blah blah. The new thing, yeah. I started New Tonic upstairs, and what we used to do was like when New Tonic finished, we'd just like at 2:30, we'd just leave the doors open. So all the people from New Tonic upstairs would come downstairs, all off the head on drugs, and just dance to whatever we were playing downstairs. Because upstairs had its shelf life and it had finished. But, I was kind of half clever. So I'd gone, started New Tonic, still had downstairs, but there was probably no more than, for 2 years, there was probably no more than 200 people in downstairs, like the old Bransons. 2000 to 2002, but we managed to kind of like literally amalgamate New Tonic. But then the medicine bar opened at the custard factory, which took all the breaks people away, and then all of a sudden the break singer had gone, so there was nothing upstairs, and there was just us downstairs, and it just went from 200 to 100 to 50, and then it was just like done. In end of 2001, I think that was.
Okay.
I'd moved to London. Luckily enough, I got like a couple of residencies at London, and I got a phone call off Helen saying, I messaged Helen saying like new phones. We hadn't phones, like phones weren't available. And I messaged Helen saying, can you do 12 to 2 on Saturday? And Helen messaged back going, it's shut. I went, what do you mean it's shut? So me, the person who had run the club for like 11 years, had to hear off one of my DJs that the club was shut because it had, apparently someone had thrown some combustible thing in there and it was shut because it was dead, burned.
Wow. Actually, there was a time in Birmingham where you'd go into clubs and CS gas would be let off, wouldn't it?
That was always nice.
That's
Looking
crazy.
standing.
Allegedly.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, guys.
Don't mention any names. For God's sake, we'll get killed. Right.
Don't mention the KS.
Yeah, so many highs, a few lows, and you know that's a long time ago. You know, it's crazy, isn't it, that it's a long time ago? Such a
Don't
long
even
time
go
ago.
there because it's like fucking hell. Like I just, you know, I've touched the surface tonight, and I could go to bed and go to sleep really healthily. But like literally, so much more,
There is so much more. Well, what I'm going to do,
so
I'm
much
going to.
more because what I want is to big up the people that were involved in that so much more. Not
Mhm.
me, just
Well, I
you know.
think what we've done here, I think we've been able to tell your story, tell parts of your story, quite not enough of the
Not
story.
eloquently.
No, very eloquently, very entertaining, without a shadow of a doubt. But what it enables us to do is for you to come on again, whether it's a couple of months. Well, it will be a few months with somebody else who's also, say, for example, Jim or Lee Fisher. And because we've covered the crux of the story, then you guys can bounce off each other and piece together other parts of the jigsaw, because there are other things that you'll go away and you'll think, shit, why didn't I mention that? Why didn't I mention this? Why didn't I mention the other? You know, and that's why I said at the very beginning, which was over 2 hours ago, you know, there's so much that we're not going to be able to cover here. And we still got 20 years. So what I think I would like to do is bring you right bang up to date now, because you're riding high, enjoying life with your coffee shop. We're seeing Wobble's name around a hell of a lot more. You mentioned a guy called Alex earlier, who's also been around for a hell of a long time, and you guys have teamed up now. So tell us what's happening on the clubbing landscape for Wobble and
So
Heritage.
I had a hairdressing salon in Birmingham, parlour hair, and one of my clients apparently was like an old raver. And she was like, "What do you know about Heritage?" And I was like, "What are you fucking talking about?" She was like, "Heritage at Hair and Hands, they've got Graham Park on." I'm like, "We never had Graham Park on." She was like, "They've got Graham Park on Saturday." So I'm like, "Okay." So someone's telling me someone's got Graham Park on at some night called Heritage. So I've just got on, got on the social media, seen it, and then I've seen their like future lineups. And one of their future lineups, they had DJ Falcon, and if anyone knows Wobble, if anyone knows me, it's like all that French house stuff is like, I invented it. I know, I know. So I was like, fucking hell, DJ. So I sent a message back saying, fair play, booking, good booking, DJ. If I can fucking help. And then this fucking annoying twat, Alex Hammond, messaged me back going, "Oh yeah, thanks, mate. That's really great. I fucking booked it. Okay, you come to Wobble, blah 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 blah." Oh, fucking knows. But he may be a nose, but he, he he's
Passionate.
he's his heart's in the right place. He's a nose. His heart's in the right place, and he books the best DJs, and they have the best nights. So I played there on Saturday, and it was just like off the scale. Haven't seen a night like it for like 20 years. It was fucking banging. So Alex Hammond, because of that one message I sent to him, he like followed me around and was like, "Oh, let's do some nights. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. It's not a problem. Let's do this. And we're mates, and he's a good bloke, but he's a fucking nose.
To be fair, we're all noses, and I'm gonna ask you to come back and end up. Ray, my good friend Ray, is saying, what was your go-to record shop in Birmingham? Can you remember?
Yeah,
Glo-
because
it was before
no,
Global.
no,
Would have
no,
been way
no,
before
no,
Global
because
Grooves,
no,
wouldn't it?
no, I used to have in the mid 90s when I was cash ready on a Saturday. I'd go to Don Christie's early, 10, 11, get the new imports, walk up to Frenchie. Didn't really buy much from Frenchie. No disrespect, Frenchie, but didn't really like what he was trying to sell me. But I'd have a look. Then I'd walk all the way up, and I'd go into was it Swordfish on Bennett's Hill?
Right. Okay.
Go into Swordfish, and I'd look for some albums like indie albums or this and that. But stuff that I'd never played, but stuff I wanted for my collection. And then from Swordfish, I'd walk all the way up to Pure, and then I'd buy all my house fucking classics and all the house hits, all the fucking Viznardi, High State Consciousness, anything on all of the really good house shit from Pure. Then, after spending 200 quid with Lee, I'd walk over to the plastic factory and I'd buy a Monkeys album, probably a Cyanide album, and probably some film score from Crippled Dick Hot Wax. And I'd walk out with 400 quid worth of records in about 1994, 95, before they all kind of went their wayward, when it was the glory days of record shops. But all the house from Pure,
Wicked.
all the US garage, probably from Don Christie's. US garage, you know about that. Little bits from French's, probably not a lot. But then it was, I've still got it downstairs. Like Crippled Dick Hot Wax, film scores, Italiano porno stuff from Plastic Factory. And that's what I used to do, because I was cash rich at the time from the club. Go and fucking spend my money. It was great.
Well, I've been sat here just enthralled, listening to your story, chuckling throughout, because way back before I really knew who you were, I made my own opinion up of you. And you've said yourself you were quite opinionated, you were quite aloof, whatever. But then once I actually got to know you, I got to know the man behind the facade, and you are a lovely fella indeed. We've shared some great times together. I've got a hell of a lot of respect for you, for all you have achieved and all you continue to achieve, mate. And you've entertained a hell of a lot of people here tonight, and we're definitely going to get you back on to talk more about the stories, because there's just so much more to tell.
So many more.
So much more to tell. I would like to apologise to Emma for stealing you from your tea this evening. And I'm just gonna bring it to a close now and say again, mate, thank you. It's a shame we didn't have Jock here, but at the same time, I think it was nice because we got to hear all of your story. Because if Jock was with us, we would have been bouncing around and we wouldn't have got half of that juice that we got this evening. I would love for you to share the words that you shared with me before we came on air, talking about the the people who have been around for so long as we have, that is there anyone amongst us who isn't damaged? But you didn't put it quite as diplomatically as that, but I won't let that go any further. I'm just going to say, Phil, thank you very much, mate. Is there anything that you think you would like to end on?
If I tried to get off with your missus, I apologise.
Me or everybody else?
No, everyone.
He's got form. Right, Phil, I'm going to
apologise. Another time.
I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to say thank you very much, mate. It's been absolutely incredible. Take care, my man. Wow. What an absolute legend. What an absolute legend. We could sit and listen to him all night, and he would definitely be back on again. If by any chance this is the first time you're catching one of these live broadcasts, I'll just recap on what we do. Every Tuesday evening, I have two different kind of live streams that I do. Inspire and Be Inspired could be anything from business topics of conversation, motivational people. We've had quite a few of these Brummer's Fuck interviews now. All of them can be found on my YouTube channel, and I would, suggest that you go and have a look and see if there's any former guests that you might be interested in. Next Tuesday, it's the alternate channel that I'll be presenting. We're called the Soulful House Mafia, where I talk to people specifically from the Soulful House movement in the UK from the early to mid 90s, covering much of what Phil and I were talking about then, around the birth of the Ministry of Sound and the likes. And next week we've got two guys from London who will shed a lot of light on those times, Mr. Lyndon C and Seamus Haji. So that's next Tuesday, whatever the date is, the 23rd of November at 7 o'clock UK time. If you didn't know, because I see some names there of people who I'm not familiar with, I'm actually in Spain. I've been living in Spain for 18 years now, and I love doing this. And it's I'm able to do it through the support of a lot of my good friends. I have an Access subscription program that all of those guys help me with. And a lot of people have been liking the page and following the page. So there's two pages you can check out: Soulful House Mafia, and also Inspire and Be Inspired. Thank you to everybody that have been watching. And again, we get so many more people coming back and checking out the recording. I'm sure you'll have had belly laughs at some of that. I really would love to sit here and talk more about the interview, but I think I've taken up more than enough of your time. I will say to names, for example, Dale, or there's some people mentioned a good friend of mine earlier, Trevor from Moseley. I was too busy listening to Phil to be able to say hello to you, but wow, names that have sprung up from the past. Crazy memories from Marco Polo's days. Birmingham was definitely smashing it back then, wasn't it? So, like I say, conscious of taking up too much of your time. Thank you so much for being here, and please do send a message to Phil and let him know how much you've absolutely loved that. I'm going to say goodbye, trying to see where my button is to end the stream, and thank you guys. One love.